and welcome to Achievement Hunters. We got a wonderful show for you today, um, but most of all, we all know what you're here for. You're here to listen to us talk about the Switch 2. Um, I don't think we really had any other topics for today, but I think the Switch 2 is just enough to fill up a whole show. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes,
And
I
I am
do.
joined.
Sorry, I was I was watching the stream.
Yeah, no worries. I am joined by my lovely co-host Hunter here.
That's me.
Yeah, and so let's get started on this. So before we get into anything, I had a bingo card for this stream. My problem is I made that a week ago. A week ago there was that was before another freaking direct came out.
Oh yeah, that one.
So I made a bingo card before another direct. So there's some things on this bingo card that was shown up in the other direct. For example, I put Story of Seasons on my bingo card.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna start going down the list. So first off, my top row was Zelda. We obviously got that. Luigi game. We didn't get, unfortunately. Mario 3D game. We didn't get that, unfortunately. COD. We didn't get that, unfortunately. Metroid. We did get a snippet of Metroid, so I would consider that. So my top row didn't go do very well. But next up, I had Split Fiction, which we got shown off there, I think. New IP. Um, was there any new IPs in the direct? I can't actually remember.
The last Switch one or the Switch 2 direct.
Either one at this.
There was that wheelchair basketball one.
Oh yeah. So yeah, new IP. So Split Fiction was there. New IP was there. Then I put a Way Forward game, which yeah, unfortunately that wasn't there. I don't think.
Hmm.
Um, Next up was Final Fantasy. Then Pokemon Legends ZA, which we got in the other direct. Then I put GameCube NSO, which I'm so glad we got. I also put DS games. Um, we didn't get DS games, but we got DS remakes or DS sequels. Does that count?
Uh, I guess so in a way.
I guess maybe. I put my for my free space. I put Mario Kart 9. Then next up, I had Kingdom Hearts. I know. I just want native Kingdom Hearts games so bad.
Oh yeah, didn't we get like the
We got
the one
cloud
and two
versions.
collections, but it was cloud versions. It really
Yep.
sucks because like those aren't gonna last forever.
Yeah, and you pay full price for them, like they're actual full price games too. So it's like, ah.
Yeah.
Then I put Story of Seasons. Um, then I put an HD 2D game, which what was that game we got?
What Dragon Quest was it?
Yeah. Dragon Quest One Plus
Huh.
Two. Then I put a live service Nintendo game, which we didn't get. I then put Animal Crossing, which we didn't get. I put Just Dance, that we didn't get, and then I put Game by Sakurai, which I'm super excited about this. The fact of Sakurai's new game.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked for that one too. I didn't expect it,
I
but
didn't.
it's still a very welcome surprise.
I I knew Sakurai was gonna do something. I didn't know what, but I'm super happy. Um, I then put a Microsoft. I put Microsoft game. Honestly, I should have put PlayStation game with all the PlayStation games that Bandai Namco put with in the first Switch
Hmm.
Direct. um, I then put themed console. Um, Unfortunately, I we didn't get that. We have a bundle, but I don't think the Switch 2 is themed after Mario Kart 9. It's just Mario Kart 9 with a download code, which sucks.
Yeah.
Then we got then I put Virtual Console, not gonna happen. Then I put Switch Remasters, which we got, and then I put Fatal Frame. So unfortunately, I didn't get Bingo, but a lot of the stuff that I was kind of expecting did happen. Um, except for one, I expected there to be a 3D Mario game, and Nintendo decided, nah, we do our own thing. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So I would just want to go through the direct a little bit at a time, real quick, and then we can talk about the little nuances a little bit later. So first off, skimming through, we got Mario Kart World, and oh my gosh, this is gorgeous.
It really is.
Um, and the fact that it's a, what would you even call this? An open world Mario Kart?
Hmm. I'd
What
say
would you even
more
call this?
open-ended and not
Oh,
open world,
open
cause
open zone. If
yeah,
we want to
open
go all
zone.
Sonic Frontiers on here, open zone. Yeah. I think the best way to call it is a free roam, free roam Mario Kart, which is super
That's,
cool.
that's a good way to.
The first free roam Mario Kart, which is super cool actually, especially one with this big. So what was also super cool about this entry was the fact that you had a whole bunch of different trick systems going on. Hold on. You had the vehicles turning into other vehicles. So vehicle transformations, which is super cool. You had these cool. You have a trick system and grinding system in place, which is super cool. And for some reason, we can play as Moo Moo Meadows cow.
I was not expecting that.
That is what I did not expect. All these Moo Moo Meadow cows are like, what the heck is he doing up there? Is that Carl? Yeah. Uh, so yeah, it's just, and it looks like it's just super expressive, and you got
And the
more,
hamburger.
yeah, like new power ups. You get the different outfits, which is super cool, like all the different
Yeah, I'm
outfits from, I
really
think, what was that, Mario Kart Tour?
yeah, I'm really glad they reincorporated all the tour outfits into this.
Yeah, I taking the tracks and putting them into Mario Kart 8 Deluxe booster course was super cool, and now them having the actual outfits in here, I'm glad all that stuff didn't go to waste.
Hmm.
All that development time. And these are really cool outfits. I never played Mario Kart what was it, World Tour or Home Tour?
Yeah, Mario Kart Tour. You're not missing out on much, honestly.
Yeah. So that was super cool. Another super cool thing is the fact that they actually got the hardware engineers um, up on the stage to present the thing they built, which is super cool. Um, has Nintendo actually done that before? Mostly, it's just been like
Um,
the standard presenters.
yeah, not that I can really. They've never really been one to go into their like hardware specs and stuff super in detail. So I
So
guess
to
this is kind of a first for them.
Yeah, so it's they actually have the hardware team going up and saying, "Yeah, this is what we made." That I legitimately thought that was super cool. This is Yeah, hardware design lead for the Nintendo Switch 2.
Hmm.
So, oh, and also, um, this looks like we got the freaking Sunshine people back.
Oh yeah, the Piantas. They're actually I
Piantas,
think I saw one like in a cart. They're like playable now too.
really? That's super cool.
Yeah, I saw it. I was like, yes, yes, yes,
Yeah, that's
because like I
legitimately
wanted them
super
in the
cool.
game so bad.
Yeah, that's legitimately super cool. That actually happened. Hold on, I forgot to pull up the stream chat up on my stream. Hold on, guys, I forgot to bring out chat. Sorry, I'm bringing up chat now. Sorry, guys. Hold on, I'm bringing it up. Okay, there we go. That's a cool outfit for King Boo. I really
Yeah,
like that.
I really hope his Luigi's Mansion design is gonna be
Is
like
that a
an option.
bee? Is that a bee and a crab?
It's a freaking Sting Bee.
It's the freaking sting bee and the crabs from what was that? The ocean, the ocean one.
Beach, cheap beach was it?
Wait, no, what was it from Odyssey? Oh no, I think you're right. I think it was the cheap beach.
Yeah.
And of
Oh, and
course,
Nabbit is playable.
we got Nabbit, but we have the freaking penguins.
Oh yeah.
That's super cool. Pauline playable. Yeah, but this is super cool. The fact that you have, of course, the Grand Prix and all that stuff.
Oh, and the music. Toad's Factory's coming back somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere, because that
It's
was
been
super
like
cool with the
almost 20
music.
years.
Toad's Factory has to be one of my favorites. Um, so Super Mario Brothers Circuit has this old west um, sort of like Midwest um, feel to it, which is super cool. We got Whistletop Summit, which I'm just gonna say it. I am partial to train um, circuits in Mario Kart. I love stuff that involves trains.
As am I.
Uh, Crown City. I don't know what that's gonna be a reference to, or what that design is gonna be like. Desert Hills looks cool. Shy Guy Bazaar looks fantastic. Airship Fortress looks like it could be cool. We got Wario Stadium,
Hmm.
which is amazing. Um, DK Pass, obviously a sort of nod to Donkey Kong um, Summit from Wii, right?
I believe
The
so. Yeah.
Yeah, and Sky High Sunday looks cool. Wario Shipyard looks super cool, and then we have Starview Peak. So this is
Is that the
obviously like
Comet Observatory?
yeah, but also turned into like a
Oh.
glacier mount. For some reason, they
Hmm.
gave Rosalina like an ice motif to merge with her galactic motif, which I never personally liked, but it's fine. Koopa Troop Beach, Crown. Wait, didn't we just have Crown City? Uh, I might be just blind.
Oh.
Um, but yeah. Hold on. Yeah, yeah.
I think it is in there twice.
Hold on. Let me double check that. Yeah, it is. Crown City and the Mushroom Cup. Is it two different like times a day?
Oh, I
Oh,
tell you what they might be doing. Have you ever played or heard of the Mario Kart arcade GP games?
yeah. I've never played them,
They
but I've
might be they might be doing because like with those games they had relatively few like original courses, but they had like evening and night variants of
that's
each
super
one.
cool that they have
That
some of
might be
those.
what they're doing
So
here.
day night versions. Yeah, that's super cool. And it looks like it's gonna be like only a handful of areas, but they get mixed up together. As you can see, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8 areas. Because it looks like a map that's gonna get, and then the different pre's are gonna just have different ways they're interconnected slash day night cycles maybe.
Wait. Could you rewind a little bit, just like five,
Yeah,
10 seconds?
yeah, yeah. You could see how it's like you could see the map.
Yeah, but also there was I
So
think
it
it was a few
goes.
seconds after this.
So it has. So it has that. So this is Crown City right here,
Oh.
and then it goes. Hold on. Stop going so fast. Hold on. I need to reduce this a bit. Let me go to 0.75 speed. So you can see it. You can see how it's connecting, and it's connecting each of them, and then you can see this one gets reused as it goes into this.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's
That makes
giving
sense.
almost like a geographic thing, which also makes me wonder: can is it possible for you to make your own pre by picking 4 locations on this map?
That would be really cool. That was a good like notice you had there. I did not notice that at all.
Yeah, like the map is super cool that they're doing this whole actual map motif thing.
Oh, this is what I was distracted by. Look, it's a cataquack.
Oh, wait, what?
I think it was a little bit before this part. But there's the Pianta. There's
Oh,
the
there it is.
cataquack.
I saw it. Yeah. That's super cool.
Yeah. A lot of sunshine love with this.
Yeah, definitely. So a knockout tour. Hold on. Let me see if I can change the subtitles to. Why does everything have subtitles except for the English?
Hmm.
Okay, so that's what that thing is that it's essentially an entire around every track. So that means we'll do some tracks with a day and night cycle. That's kind of cool. Also, can I just say I like how clean the UI is.
Yeah, it's really nice. The only thing I don't like is the placement font.
I kind of like it, but yeah. I like how the item slot doesn't seem to be in your way. Um, but yeah, a free roam like open area for you just to traverse is super cool.
Yeah.
But my question is that yeah, there's going to be free roam, but is there anything to do in it?
I assume there's probably bound to be. They'll probably reveal it
I'm just
more in
scared
the
we're
in
going to
the
have a
direct.
situation where it's like, yeah, you have a free roam area to run around, but there's nothing to do in it.
Oh, yeah, that's a fair concern.
Also, yeah, so all these look fantastic. This is definitely a game that I really want to pick up. This looks
Yeah.
fantastic. Available same. So this is a good. This is a really launch title. There's gonna be a Mario Kart World Direct on April 17th, which is gonna be super cool. Um, I'm very curious about what they're gonna show off there. So continuing onwards, so Joy-Con 2s. Um, And of course, so they bring up the connect button. Or, okay, first, before we get to that, can I just say I hate the transition. I hate the new Switch transition. The new
I
snap.
don't really like it either.
Yeah, that looks terrible. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
That
they just kind of like awkwardly like
yeah
click together, and then the two just slides out.
yeah no that. Come on, Nintendo. You had 5 years to come up with a good You had time to come up with a better way to do a transition there. Come on. You're better than this, Nintendo. Come on. So that so this is what the new like grip is going to look like. I am curious on whether it will be better for your hands. I suspect just because it's bigger, it might, but otherwise not really. Um okay, so moving on to the Connect. Um, can Discord sue Nintendo for copy infringement on game chat?
Hmm.
I
Yeah, this
this
seems
is
like
this,
eerily similar.
this is like copy your homework, except don't make it look too similar. I mean,
And
I
put
like the
Mario
little
in it.
bubbly transition, like the little bubble things that they do for the icons, but like the that's just the Discord UI. That's literally the Discord UI.
Yeah.
Also, there seem to be bringing back the it's like bringing back We Speak, if you remember that. The weird We
I
Speak
think I
accessory.
vaguely do.
Also, there's your our first look at the Pro controller. I don't know if they brought it up later or not, but I have to
I
double check.
think they did.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, they need to. Yeah, it just this UI looks so similar to. It looks like they just copied Discord's homework. Like it's not even funny. Also, that frame rate with all of the things going. I suspect that's actually not a limitation of um the Switch 2, but actually the internet service. I suspect that's a Nintendo Switch Online limitation, not the
That's what I was
for the
thinking.
steadiest for the stutteriness. I suspect it's not a Nintendo Switch 2 um, limitation because no, Nintendo Switch 2 should be able to handle all that with all of the stuff it has going on. I just suspect this is bad Nintendo Switch Online. That's just my 2 cents. Let me skip forward a bit. And of course, we got the Nintendo Switch Online camera. Um, um, I'm torn on this. I think it's a neat idea. Um, it's definitely Nintendo, and yeah, it's definitely Nintendo. I don't hate it that it exists in the world. You know what I mean? It's just one of those wacky things that
Yeah.
I'm just indifferent towards.
It kind of feels like the PlayStation Eye sort of, but specifically like the PS5 version when they
No,
don't
it
really
looks
like
like the
advertise it anymore and it's just kind of just there.
what that is that it looks like the Xbox Connect.
Oh, yeah.
That's what this reminds me of like Connect Adventures.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it just feels weird that it's like this was definitely something that was gonna be part of the dock itself, and then they were like, we can't make it fit. Let's make it a separate accessory that'll be go with launch.
Hmm.
That's what I suspect. Nintendo parent controls, da 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 da. Uh, oh, we've got the game share thing, which is super cool that they brought this back from like the DS.
Whoa, wait, what?
You can play
Oh, I didn't
local.
hear about this at all.
Yeah, you can play local play with other systems now, locally. Rather than needing like um to do like some weird finagling, you can actually do like play the same game together with multiple systems, and you don't
Hmm.
need to have the same all need to own the game. It's essentially just like how it
Okay.
was on like the DES.
That's really cool. I'm shocked they did not bring that back for like well they sort of did with the Switch one because you had Clubhouse games that had like that demo pass thing. I felt like that was kind of an experiment towards this in a way.
Yeah, and the fact that they're using Clubhouse games as the demo for this just makes sense, all the sense in the
Yeah,
world.
we've come full circle.
Exactly. And so you're just all there with your own Switches. You have one game cart, and you're all playing Clubhouse games together. This was a super surprise, is that Mario Odyssey and Big Brain Academy were getting updates for this all these years later.
Yeah.
Mario Odyssey last update was like when was it? The Mario Labo was what was it? The Labo VR kit update?
I think so.
Yeah, it's like bruh.
And then I think after that, both Odyssey and Breath of the Wild, they got some optimization updates that improved the load times.
Gotcha. Effect added. Of course they would
Oh man, I thought it was real.
do.
Guess I'm-
See, this is super cool. Like that's legitimately cool. That's a cool a part of the free roam. You have like water areas that you can free roam. And we are back. All right. Sorry about the technical difficulties, guys. Um all right. So we are back. Let me share screen again. There we go. Okay. So back to this. So we got the game share going on. So, and then would they go into the actual specs? So, bigger screen with the same thickness. So that was the big thing is how huge the screen is. Going that's a full inch and a
Yeah.
half plus of more space. Although to be honest, I think because of that, I think the pixel to like the pixel density is the same, so I don't think it'll look that much better from the viewing distance. I'll just be honest. I think You add in more pixels, but you also add in more screen. So it's like your screen to pixel ratio pretty much I think remained equivalent. So you're not gonna get that much better. Um, it's not gonna look that much better. The one thing that will look better though is the fact that it's not just 1080p or a bigger screen. It's the fact that it's 120 hertz screen. The fact that it'll go up to 120 FPS on that screen is huge.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was not expecting that. I was expecting like a 90 or something, you know?
Yeah.
I was legitimately not expecting that, which I that was pretty cool to see. I will say that. That was pretty cool. Um just double checking chat real quick. Yeah, no, and the fact that it has HDR as well, that's super cool.
It's so freaking pretty. I know we already said that, but like, wow.
It's so freaking pretty.
And
So
the
to
magnetic
detach it,
Joy-Cons.
so to detach it, you have to press in that little button to detach. Otherwise, it's staying on.
Hmm.
So big SL and I'll be honest, that doesn't really matter to me because unless the buttons stick out, it doesn't matter. You still need the straps.
Yeah.
Um, so mouse controls, which is interesting. I was so suspecting they were gonna bring out a Mario Paint game to show that.
I didn't even think of that. That would have made like a lot more sense than wheelchair basketball, honestly.
Yeah, no, I was like Mario Paint, like that a remake of Mario Paint, or heck a mouse support for Super Mario Maker. 3D audio is super cool though. The fact that fact is that the base switch doesn't even support I think 5.1 surround sound. So now that we got 3D audio on this thing is super cool. And yes, we brought over the Switch OLED kickstand because we know that first one was terrible.
It really was. It was so bad.
It was so bad. Two USB-C ports. Um, I'm glad that they did this. This was a needed revision. Add not a lot of things add a second US. Not even the Steam Deck has a second USB-C port, which is one of my flaws with that device. Which I'm so glad. Um, this was a much needed upgrade as too. The 256 gigs of storage. 32
This is
gigs is
great.
just not enough in today. Like that's
Yeah.
not enough for DLC at this point.
Yeah. Oh, one thing I noticed when we were looking at the USB-C ports is that the AC adapter, it's not like hardwired into the block anymore,
Yeah, no,
and it's
it's a
smaller.
USB-C dock, which is super
Yeah.
nice. It has a removable cable. This is what blew my mind here in a second. Hold on. New dock with 4K support.
That's the big one.
That is huge. 4K resolution and HDR are available in compatible games and require a compatible display. So we can get 4K HDR games out of a Nintendo product. That's insane. Did you ever thought you would hear the words 4K HDR and Nintendo in the same sentence?
Honestly, not in my life, not on my life. I don't think I'd ever would heard that.
I know that's like insane. Um,
Yeah.
so you can choose to get 4K HDMI, 4K HDR, or you can get your 120 FPS. And to hear that from a Nintendo product of all things is insane.
Yeah.
And you can just, select the resolution. And it's just right there in the system settings, which is super cool. Even if the software does not support 4K natively, it is possible to upscale output in 4K if the television supports it. So this is part of that patent.
Oh.
That's that like patents that Nintendo was doing with the Nvidia ups or with their special sauce upscaling.
I remember hearing about that because I think like Nintendo Wire or something, they said it was like AI upscaling, and people
Yeah,
they saw AI and they made a whole big deal out of it when it really wasn't as bad as
yeah,
what they thought.
yeah. No. Literally every like system uses AI upscaling at this point. That's literally what DLSS is why anything can run pretty much at this point. Fixed frame rate is fixed to a maximum of 60 FPS for 4K output. I am happy. My television doesn't go above 4K 60 FPS.
Hmm.
Like that is how crazy this is that this thing can go up to a 4K at 60 FPS HDR. Like that in a Nintendo console, a budget console, is insane. Well, budget. We'll get back to that. Oh my gosh, we're like, let me see. We are like 36 minutes into the live stream and we've only made it like 16 17 minutes through this thing. I'm going to
We've
try
only
and
covered like one game.
yeah, all right. So I'm just going to like keep scrolling past this. So they have a special board and cooler in the dock. As you can see, here's the fan that they have inside the dock for docked output. Man, it's just so pretty. I can't help it. It looks so good. Um, and then they have Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour. Okay, we gotta talk about this. Nintendo, you gotta do a proper pack-in. You have to give a free pack-in, Nintendo. I know Reggie was the only reason you included Wii Sports in the Wii console, but come on. If you want to sell a console, the demo to sell the console has to be included with the console. Come on, Nintendo.
Yeah, this reminds me of like with the Switch One, how
Oh, 1-2
everyone
Switch?
expected like 1-2 Switch to be a pack-in title, but no, it was $60.
$60. Definitely not worth that price. That
And then
that
it got a sequel that like no one cared about.
that game was like $20 tops. If
Yeah.
that. I probably that thing was probably more like a $10 game, and Nintendo charged like 20. Sorry, Nintendo charged 60. I'm like, that was like the worst value proposition you could have ever made. It was super interesting reading Reggie Fils-Aimé's book, because he was the one that had to pretty much strong arm Nintendo of Japan to include Wii Sports as a pack-in.
Hmm.
And that makes me think, oh my gosh. Imagine if the Wii didn't come with Wii Sports. I'm just like,
That
exactly. Who would have bought a Wii?
that's a very valid point. Like Wii Sports, it like I think in a weird way the Wii, like at least starting off, needed Wii Sports.
The
It
Wii
was like just
needed
that
Wii
important.
Sports. Yeah. But the problem is that Nintendo doesn't want to do that again. Nintendo doesn't won't allow anything else to reach that. I'll be honest. Do you know what I viewed as the pack-in for Nintendo Switch? It wasn't 1-2 Switch. It was Snipper Clips.
Oh yeah.
That was the cheap. That was the cheap esports title right when the Switch launched. That honestly perfectly showed what the Switch was about. Fun multiplayer gameplay that you can just take anywhere.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, and if you think I'm wrong, no, that thing was published and I think created by Nintendo. So, yeah, no, I'm like, come on, Nintendo, get it together. Make this a 10. This better be like a $5 eShop game. If it's not, that is BS.
Yeah.
Which is sad because this looks like a fun little demo game. But the problem is that you're gonna charge 60. You're gonna charge the same cost as this as a full blown Zelda.
Yeah.
Come on. As a paid digital only game. Okay. I just want to know what it's gonna cost. If it's $5, fine. But if it's any more than $20, that is. Okay, so now we're going to go into the game cards. And this is one of the things that confused me because now they have essentially what is dummy license cards. Now, is that you can now have a physical Switch card that all it does is that it activates a license for you to download a game. Kind of like Xbox, where the game isn't on the disc. And I'm like, what was the point of getting the physical cards then, Nintendo? Just tell us you want to get rid of physical. Telling us that we need to have microSD express cards instead of standard microSD. That's fine. It's just telling us they need the faster speed for this console. Understandable.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah. They want you to have microSD express cards instead of microSD cards.
Huh.
You can of course just transfer the data over, use a system transfer, da 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 da. Okay, yeah. Switch to. It looks just like the Switch 1, a Pro controller, except it has the C button. And to be fair, it also has GR and GL. So it has actual thumb buttons or finger buttons, whatever you call them.
I honestly think that this in general is a pretty, like, I don't know how much it's going to cost, but either way, I think it's a pretty good move for Nintendo to not go for the whole, like, regular controller and then, like, a pro, like, controller variant of it, like Sony and Microsoft did.
Well, they do, but the Pro controller isn't like hundreds of dollars. That's like the
Yeah.
one thing I will commend Nintendo on pricing this generation is that their Pro controllers have been under $100 compared to the $200 DualSense Edge.
I thought it was only like 100 something. Oh my gosh.
No, like DualSense Edge is like $200. I think the Microsoft Elite is like 180.
Mm.
So it's available June 5th. That is around the time I was expecting. I was hoping for April. I mean, I was hoping for mid-May. But June 3rd, perfectly reasonable time. I I'm happy for that. That's a good date. Right there in smack dab in the middle of June. Or right there in the beginning of June. Perfect time. So it's also here it's telling us that it can play three types of games. It can play the Nintendo Switch 2 exclusives, compatible Nintendo Switch games. Hold on. Some Nintendo Switch games might not be supported or fully compatible. Visits Nintendo website for full information. So it is able to have compatible. So all these you got your backwards compatibility. It's fine. But then we have the Nintendo Switch 2 edition of these games. And this is where everything goes bananas. Not because of what's said in the direct, but what is said after the direct. And we will or what is not said in the direct. And that is the pricing for these guys. So let me scroll over to the actual games. We've got Nintendo Switch 2 edition of Mario Party Jamboree plus Jamboree TV. So Jamboree TV is like an expansion or something. This costs $80. $79.99. Ugh.
I don't like it.
you took the words right out of my mouth. I get it, but I don't like it. Nothing should have been $80. This should have been 70. It would have been fine to be 70.
Yeah. Like, this isn't even like Nintendo tax or anything anymore. This is just like greed.
Yeah. So, yeah. Expands on the base Super Mario Party Jamboree. So, I believe the base Mario Party Jamboree was $60, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Was it 60 or 70? I can't remember. What I'm saying
It was
is that with I'm fine if a game came out at $60. I'm okay with an expansion costing 70. But Nintendo games should not be more than $70.
agreed.
So the TV is like a bonus thing that they did. That's like a Nintendo Switch 2 like limited mini games. A Nintendo Switch 2 edition expansion, which is why I'm kind of fine with it being $70 because it's essentially Mario Party Jamboree Definitive Edition. But that also makes you wonder, Mario Party Jamboree came out. When was the release date for Mario Party Jamboree? Now I have to look it up.
I think November, not even like half a year ago.
October 2025.
Oh, I was close.
Yeah, it's been 6 months, if that. That should not be an expansion. That should have been part of the game as free DLC.
Yeah.
That the game was less than a year old, and now you're just being greedy. And I'm just double checking its price real quick. If it was $70, it was $60. No, this should have been part of the game to begin with. Or this should have been a free update. That That's just greed. That's
Yeah.
that is. If it was $70, I could see it. I would not like it, but I could see it. $80, that's and the problem is that Nintendo doesn't give us pricing on how much these upgrade packs cost. Cuz I'll tell you, probably isn't the it probably costs more to buy the game and the upgrade path than to buy it all at once. Cuz that's just how it works. This is what really gets me though. Zelda Breath of the Wild Switch 2 edition, I'm okay with. That is an 8-year-old game. This is essentially a touching it up, a slight remaster. I'm okay with charging a little bit more for that. It's $70. That I'm okay with. What do you think that the Breath of the Wild Switch 2 edition is unfair for being 70? Because it launched at 60.
Honestly, I'm kind of in the same boat as you. Like it makes sense, you know. I think it's surprising to think about how long it's been, but I think 8 years is a pretty okay time gap to justify a remaster.
Exactly. But Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, that came out 2 years ago?
2 years ago.
No. This should have been free DLC. Or this should not, or this should have been the same price as the Tears of the Kingdom. It should not be $10 more. It should not be $80. That's my opinion.
I agree.
Yeah. Because that looks pretty good. Like that's pretty. HDR on these games looks fantastic. And this is why I was so huge about the HDR earlier, is because HDR makes games like Breath of the Wild and these big areas look fantastic. But you're gonna charge me for the console and $10 extra to get that? So, another super cool thing, the Nintendo Switch Online app, which was like previously for like voice chat stuff, it is being renamed to just the Nintendo Switch app. And there's going to be game specific services. One of them being Zelda Notes for Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. And what is with it? It's essentially what we were promised back during Zelda Wii U, where you had on your phone you have your mini map, and on the screen you have the gameplay. So you have your map and your their game at the same time, which actually didn't happen for Zelda Breath of the Wild Wii U edition. But this was essentially what was promised and talked about during Zelda Wii U. And essentially
Hmm.
they've essentially made your phone a Wii U mode. Oh, here's another one. Kirby and the Forgotten Land Nintendo Switch 2 edition plus Star-Crossed World. I want to quickly look up the price for this guy. I think I'm okay with this, depending on the price. I because I'm pretty sure that came out 2019, 2020, something like that. It was like right before or right no, really? No, 2022. Okay, no, that was only just a little
3 years,
bit.
I think.
2, 3 years ago. Okay. Okay, no. Uh August 28th. Oh, no. Oh, that's the other thing. Um Hold on. When was the release date? March of 2022. So almost, yeah, 3 years to the date of this guy. Plus Starcross World. So there's an expansion here. I'm okay with that. As long as, but we have to talk about the price. And the price is $80. This should be 70. There's no reason to jump up to $80. Nintendo's trying to add $20 to each of these games. And then, of course, you have Metroid Prime 4 Beyond Nintendo Switch 2 Edition, which $5 says that one's going to be $80 as well. And it's like Nintendo's trying to make everything $80, which is not okay considering how we just jumped from 60 to 70. Oh, but man, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond looks so good. Oh my gosh, it looks so good, doesn't it?
It does.
4K 60 FPS quality mode and 1080p 120 FPS HDR performance mode. That's just so freaking good. And then you just have all these games that are like they're trying to take 60 $70 games and bump them up to 80 for no reason other than just it's being on the Switch too. And then of course you have the mouse stuff, which this I'll be honest, this game didn't look all that in fighting, to be honest.
Yeah.
It looked like, I'll be honest, it looked more boring than Arms. That's how bad. I rather would want to play Arms.
Yeah, like at least Arms had like an identity. You know, this looks like a tech demo.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like a tech demo. They haven't added any of the characters or anything that they want. It feels like a gameplay demo to whatever they want to actually do. See, I could see this as a pack-in.
Yeah.
This could be a cool pack-in, but no. Now, this is super cool announcement. Elden Ring for Switch 2. To have From Software games on the Switch is super cool. I am not into the games, but to have Game of the Year contenders that were deemed to be impossible to run on the Switch 1 now as a near launch title for the Switch 2. Super cool. And then, of course, you have Hades 2, which is another one of those classic games. I'm just not into it. It looks really fun. I'm just not into it. Um, Street Fighter 6, though. That was one that was a surprise. Although, to be honest, it shouldn't have been. Street Fighter 6 is one of those like games that would be perfect for Switch. But the fact that they're not just doing that, but also having Street Fighter 6 amiibo and amiibo cards on the same day, that's
Oh.
legitimately surprising. I think I'll put that the word surprising that they are gonna go all in on the amiibo on this game at launch. I'm surprised that I could see them doing the amiibo cards, but the flat out amiibo for them at launch, that one surprised me. I think I think we should have gotten a Metroid Prime 4 Beyond amiibo instead. Metroid Prime 4 Samus amiibo. You know? But that's just me
Yeah.
not being a Street Fighter fan. I've never been a fighting game fan. So,
One thing I like about this is just the fact that it's like more third party amiibo, you
yeah,
know?
yeah, no, that's super cool. I will say that. That is super cool that we're getting more third party amiibos. Um and then we got this, which I am like, why? Why are we getting why? Just why are we getting this? Nobody cared about the first one. Why are we getting a sequel? I literally got this for free on Epic Games, and I even getting it for free, I never played it.
Hmm.
And then we got Split Fiction. Split Fiction is one of those like games by Hazelight, who made It Takes Two. So they made It Takes Two, and so they're making another game like It Takes Two, where it's like stuck in their own like VR worlds. One is very sci-fi and one's very fantasy. It's legitimately cool looking. I am that's one I would pick up as long as it's native and it's on the cartridge. Doing Madden, Hogwarts. These are all pretty heavy duty, pretty graphically demanding games that I am glad that they're able to show off the horsepower of the Switch 2 by showing, hey, look at how these run. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 plus 4, same, Hitman. Most of these games are not games I'm into, but then we get to this. Oh boy, this announcement came out of nowhere. Project 007.
Hmm.
I We are getting another James Bond game in the vein of, I assume, in the vein of GoldenEye. That's super cool. That we're getting essentially a sequel to GoldenEye for the N64 and Wii. Brave and Default. This is another one I am like, why are we getting this? Why is this $80? Why is a Bravely Default remaster $80? That, no. Just no. Yakuza, super cool to have that portably. And then a new Zelda game. This is a game I was not expecting. So we're getting another prequel game in the vein of Age of Calamity. We're getting a new Hyrule Warriors game. So, but we're playing as Zelda in the past. That's super cool. I legitimately think that is super cool. They better not do what they did with Age of Calamity.
I think I heard about that. Doesn't Sorry, go ahead.
The whole appeal of Age of Calamity and the whole thing that they had told everybody was, oh yeah, this is the prequel story to Breath of the Wild. When it ended up being an alternate timeline slash essentially a fan fiction. It was essentially an alternate timeline of Breath of the Wild past events. Which is like, why? We don't want to. We want to actually see these cool events that you're referencing in Zelda. When you tell us you're going to show us these things, actually show us the things. But Hyrule Warriors: Age of Imprisonment. I'm skeptically hopeful for this one. Coming this winter. This announcement really excited me. So NSO and NSO expansion pack can both be used on the thing on Nintendo Switch 2, but they added a thing to the expansion pack, and that was GameCube games.
The best.
The best. Yeah, I am super happy about this. This actually makes, unfortunately, it's not going to happen on the normal Nintendo Switch. It's exclusively for Nintendo Switch 2. But this actually makes the the expansion pass, the $50 tier compared to the $20 tier, that actually makes it actually a compelling buy. We finally have a reason for this thing to be $50. Especially because we have Soul Calibur 2 with the Hyrule like DLC. With the Hyrule fighters, with the Zelda fighters. So we have Soul Calibur 2 with,
oh yeah, there he is.
With with Link and Zelda and stuff. And F-Zero. We get to play F-Zero without having to spend $200 on scalp resellers. I have never played F-Zero and GX, and I really want to. I have never gotten into F-Zero, and I've really wanted to, but the games are so freaking expensive. But yeah, the fact that you can play all these GameCube games and play them online with friends, I'm so there. I am so there. This is what, for me, this is what I really am excited about. Mario Sunshine, Fire Emblem Path of Radiance, Chibi Robo is going to be added.
My son.
Our son, indeed. Luigi's Mansion. And this will all be available the same day as the Nintendo Switch 2. This is one of those that is the thing that is compelling for me. Why would I spend $80 for a single game for the Nintendo Switch 2 when I can pay $50 a year to play NES, SNES, Genesis, N64, and GameCube all online?
That's a really good point, actually. I did not think about that until now.
Yeah. So, $20. How about just Nintendo Switch 2? Just $20 gets you the NES and SNES and all online. Why would I pay the $80 when I can play all these retro games for $50? Oh, because I get to own them. Well, you only get to own and play one game. And my question for you is, how much are you going to spend on a chibi Robo? Like, the used market is crazy right now, and this actually solves that. I am... The game... This right here, GameCube on NSO, and the fact that we're getting an actual controller to go with it, that's tempting. That is my bargain. That is the thing that makes me want to do the buy a Switch 2.
Wait, are they actually making like GameCube controllers again too?
They are making a Nintendo Switch Online GameCube controller. Hold on, I think it's right up next. Also available for... Yes, exactly.
Buttons.
They even gave you a ZL button. They gave you a ZL button. Itty bitty one, but they gave you a ZL button.
That's really cool. That's a lot more than I thought it was going to be.
I think it's only a couple of GameCube games at the beginning, but they showed a whole bunch that they're going to be adding. I'll be honest. Why would I get a Nintendo Switch 2 Pro controller? I have a GameCube controller. Why do I need the Pro controller? I have GameCube controller, which has everything but, I think, Amiibo. But yeah, all of these things is Nintendo Switch Online and the Game Pass. I forgot about the Game Boy and the Game Boy Advance in there as well. So all of this, plus GameCube, for $50 a year. I think it's $50 a year. Let me double check that. Hold on. A 12-month membership. Just double checking. Hold on. Memberships. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. $50 for 12 months. Yeah. Or the family membership, which is hold on. No. The Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack is $50. $50 a month. $50 for a year. So that's like $4 a month. $4 a month for all those games. Why would I pay $80 for one game? That shouldn't be... This is why I'm so frustrated with Nintendo. The fact that we got Deltarune is a fantastic addition. That Chapter 4 is going to be coming out with Nintendo Switch 2. Borderlands 4 is coming. I'm not a Borderlands guy. Civ 7's coming. 2K is coming. I don't know this game. Survival Kids it didn't look that appealing. Enter the Gungeon, Star Seeker. Oh, Astroneer. Oh, so an Astroneer game.
Oh. I thought it looked similar.
And then Cyberpunk. How is that for a mission statement? Cyberpunk on Nintendo Switch 2. Considering how this worked at launch on Xbox 360. Or sorry, not Xbox 360, Xbox One. Remember that?
Yeah.
That was a huge buggy launch, and the fact that they are able to get this running. Not only are they running it, they're so confident, they're calling it Ultimate Edition. The fact that they're that confident in the game. And of course, we had Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. So, remake plus DLC for the game in the trilogy is coming. So we'll see remake what's number 2 again? Final Fantasy VII Remake whatever. We'll see number 2 pretty soon after, I'm pretty sure. And then Hollow Knight Silksong is also coming this year. What the heck? Silksong is real? Silksong is actually real. So we have oh, I didn't know we were getting a Rune Factory. I actually missed that. We're getting a Rune Factory. That's super cool. What? Oh. So we're getting a couple of games that are Nintendo Switch 2 editions. I'm just not... Bruh, why? Here's one that I was surprised didn't show up in the Nintendo Switch 1 Direct. Professor Layton in the New World of Steam. This was announced last year, I think. And I thought this was like one of the 2 games that had been previously announced for Switch 1. So that is coming this year. I am anticipating that one. These are a lot of games, and I am super impressed by all of them. And the fact that we're getting a unique From Software game. That's also super cool. Considering how Nintendo... Wait, hold on. Let me go back real quick. So 2026, we're getting a unique Nintendo Switch 2 From Software game, which is super cool, honestly. Considering how Sony has been trying to buy them out. And then this. Oh my gosh. We've been teased by Sakurai about what his project was gonna be. Right after he did his whole development course thing on YouTube for 2 years, then he says, "Oh yeah, I'm working on a game secretly in the background while I was working on this." And this was the game he was working on. Kirby Air Ride. Now, I'm hesitant because these are cinematics. Because you all know, we all know what happened with cinematics with Metroid Prime 4, right? Director Masahiro Sakurai. I am, and it's this year. I am excited for this one. If only because it's Kirby Air Ride and it's Sakurai who's making it. And then a brand new Donkey Kong game that's not 2D. I was expecting this to be a Mario game, but no. We have a brand new 3D open world Donkey Kong in the year 2025. What is this madness? I
It looks really good, honestly. Like I'm not even that big of like a Donkey Kong fan,
oh,
but like
I'm not a
this
Donkey
just
Kong
looks
fan
fun to
either,
play.
but it looks fantastic. It looks like they
Yeah,
took. I'll be honest. This looks like Shiveria from Mario Odyssey. It looks that pretty. Like it looks like they took
yeah.
Shiveria and made it like 10 times prettier. Or not Shiveria, Snow Kingdom. It looks like Snow Kingdom from Mario Odyssey, and they just made it so pretty. But all the expressiveness, that redesign really helped with his expressiveness. Um,
Yeah.
I'll be honest though, I prefer his older design, but I do like how expressive he is.
Honestly, I think I preferred his old design up until I saw this trailer,
Yeah,
and it just showed like how much like expression they can just like squeeze out of this new design.
yeah. I I think I like them both. They both have merits. They both have expressivism. This just looks super cool. I'm curious what they're gonna do with Donkey Kong with this game. This might be a truly return to form for Donkey Kong, and I am here for it. Because
Same here.
besides what the Donkey Kong Country Returns series, what have we done with Donkey Kong? And even then,
I guess they're
that was a Wii U game. Tropical Freeze was a Wii U game. That released like 10 years ago. They haven't done
yeah.
anything with Donkey Kong. And Retro has been stuck on freaking Metroid, so they haven't been able to do anything with him. July. We are getting a new Donkey Kong game in July. A month after launch. Limited time production through fall 2025. My thing is, there's going to be a lot of things to play, but can you afford it? Nintendo Switch 2 launches at an MSRP of $449.99. I will be honest, it was more than I wanted, but it was within parameters. It was doable. The games, the Nintendo Switch 2 Edition games, are $80. You can't buy multiple of those. You can buy one. You can buy one game to go with your Nintendo Switch 2 unless you're like a reviewer or something and get free copies or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And with that, that is the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct. That was a lot. And to be honest, I think, like, yeah, I think that. So, what are your thoughts on it now that we've done a full picture?
Hmm. Honestly, I was at first when I saw all the trailers and stuff, I was like, "Oh my gosh, yes, this is gonna be the best thing ever." And then I learned about the prices through a coworker of mine because I watched it at work, and so did he. And he watched the full thing because he came in at a later time than I did, and then he told me about like all the pricing and stuff. I was like, "Oh no!" But then after tonight, after looking over everything, I'm kind of in the middle now.
I will say this. I plan on getting a Nintendo Switch 2 with Mario Kart World. I am planning to get that bundle. I am then planning on buying a expansion pass um expansion pass NSO for $50. I am not going to buy any of the Nintendo Switch 2 edition games. That is how I'm gonna. That is my reasoning right now. I think the price of the console is fair. It's a little overpriced, but with how everything is going on right now, I think it's fair. The price of the games? No, no, no. Especially if it's the digital version of the games for $80? Heck no. No. That yeah, no. The games are over. We have a and I posted this before. We have a reverse PS3 situation. The PS the price of the console is fair, if a little pricey, but the games are overpriced.
I
Whereas
can see that.
the PS3, it was the console itself that was overpriced. So for the PS3, no one could afford the console, but for the Nintendo Switch 2, no one can afford the games. Is the problem. I will
Yeah.
buy Nintendo Switch 2, but I'm probably going to use it as a Nintendo Switch Pro. I probably will not be using it as a new console. And that is a failure of Nintendo. And that is a failure. That
A good point.
they are trying to sell you a new console, and instead they sell you a pro version of a previous console. I think that is a systemic that is a failure within your marketing and pricing. Specifically your pricing. Any other I think we're about to close. I think that wraps it up mostly. Do you have any closing remarks?
Um, let me see. Uh, there. Sorry,
Nah.
bear with me. I think honestly, I think I just kind of want to put emphasis on like how great the Switch One, its lifespan and like lifetime just in general was from launch like to all the games, just everything.
I will
At
say
least for me, cause like
I will say this. Those first 3 years of the Switch was the best time to be a Nintendo fan.
it really was.
2017 to 2019, 2020 was the best years to be a Nintendo fan. You had Smash announcements. You had Mario Odyssey. You had Breath of the Wild. You had multiple Smash Fighter announcements. You were always pining for what was coming down the pipeline. And the fact that the Switch was able to ride and keep making a whole bunch of these games and continuing it for so long, it's honestly impressive. I will be honest, nothing has really rose to the occasion besides beyond those first 3 years, but they made sure to keep the spirits relatively high, or keep you coming back for more. And I'm scared that with these prices, Nintendo won't be able to properly transition the Switch owners to Switch 2. And if that happens, you're not going to be selling any of these games.
Yeah.
With that, I think that wraps it up. Uh, thank you everybody for joining the stream. I'm gonna see who do we have to raid real quick. Um, Let me see who else is online. Da 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 da. Let me see who is online right now. Da, 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 da. Oh, we got Cranberry online. Anyways, we're gonna raid them. Thank you everybody for watching here on YouTube. We're gonna raid somebody here on Twitch. I'm gonna post the link in the chat. Thank you everybody for having a fantastic day, and thank you for listening to the first episode of our podcast. This was a bit of an irregular episode because of just how much stuff there was to go over. Normally, there's going to be more topics and multiple topics in the same show, but there was just so much going on. It was not even funny. Okay, but before we leave, how would you rate the direct? Because they didn't tell prices in the direct. How would you rate the direct by itself?
I would give it, I think, an 8.5, mainly when it comes to like telling you about the system itself. I think they did a pretty straightforward job of doing that.
Agreed. I wish they actually gave prices at the end of the direct as to be transparent. But I think this was a fantastic direct. I think it got a little slow in some areas. The pacing could have been a bit better, but that was to be expected. It was a freaking console one. I would go as far. I'd say an 8, 8.9, 8.9. 8.9 bordering a 9, you know?
Yeah.
Nothing beats the E3 2019 direct for me, but this was a good direct. Just long, but a good one. All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a fantastic day, and we will catch you on the flip side. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.